Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. No matter where you are in the world, I'm hoping you can come and enjoy my session regarding what's what hydro industry in Ontario. My name is Woody. Just a little bit more about myself. I'm coming from an accounting background. I'm getting my Master of Accountancy degree and then get a designation called CPA CMA. I'm also in project management area and I'm a professional in the PMP. I've been working in multiple companies such as Deloitte, Global Leader Institute, which is a conference company, which I have my first touch in green energy. And then I go to Greenland Group, a construction company. And then I come to Hydro One, a company in Ontario doing electricities. Currently, I'm a compliance and risk consultant at a hydro company, which I cannot disclose because of course, compliance reasons. I like to volunteer to society, and I do multiple volunteers in the same time. Those are the titles and roles I'm taking on, and I enjoyed every single minute of doing this. So if you're interested in my professional experience or extracurriculums, feel free to always contact me. Today's session, we're going to talk about a few topics. So what can you expect? First off, the basic of the basics, and today's hydro industry. And then I will guide you towards the big 5 players in Ontario. And by the end of the day, I will disclose some of the topics I'm going to discuss in the next session. Let's jump into it. I remember about 2 years ago, I was interviewing a candidate to come to my team. This candidate is not from hydro industry, but she was actually very good in answering most of the questions. And for me, I think I will most likely hire her. So I asked a question. So tell me more about the Hydro One, which is the company that she's interviewing. So my expectation wasn't too high, because I know that she's not from this industry. I'm not asking her to give me all these fancy formulas and everything. I'm hoping she can give me some high-level general idea, just to show that she's done her homework before she comes to the interview. To my surprise, she told me, I googled it. Basically, you guys sell water. Well, are we really selling water? If the guys in the picture that is showing is the job we're doing, is the business that we are in, why would you want to be a part of it? Well, I shouldn't say that because it's still a lot of fun with it. At least you can build your muscles. But probably not the best business, especially in the winter. So no, we don't sell water. What do we actually do? Today's hydro industry is a very dynamic industry. Globally, there's over 20 terawatt hours got generated on an annual basis. And among that, Canada is ranked number 6 with a total of 651 units was generated. However, globally, there's only 3,500 units was generated from the green energy source. And Canada alone generated more than 10% out of it. And Canada, because of that, ranked number 2 as a green energy generation country in the world. If we look at Ontario in particular, in Ontario, the source of generating power are nuclear, hydroelectric, gas, wind, and a biofuel. A lot of water sites actually from the northern part of Ontario, where we have vast land and we have very few populations. And you probably know that if there's less population, there's less consumptions. So what we do is we bring all those power down to the southern Ontario. If you want to break down by fuel type, we're looking at 38.3% from nuclear, about 30% from gas, 24% from hydro, and then the rest is green energy. So if you combine hydro and green energy, in total, we have over 30% coming from the renewable energy area, which is a huge component. Now I'm going to let you see some details. You know, hydro is being generated from multiple locations, which was just discussed in the last slide. So who is in charge of doing this? Well, there are multiple companies, but the biggest one is called Ontario Power Generation. After the power being generated, they are boosted into a very high voltage, and the reason of that is because the high voltage can reduce the resistance of transmission and it can cut down the losses of the power transmission. In other words, it's more efficient. So who is in the business of transmission? There's one company called Hydro One. They are almost a monopoly in this game because they take control over 97% of the whole grid in Ontario. So after the power has been transmitted from a long distance to the city, it will be then break down into a lower voltage. We call it a step down. So the step down transformer and the lines and wires to distribute the power is called Local Distribution Company, the LDCs. I just picked the biggest one in Canada, Toronto Hydro. So along the way, there are multiple costs that was embedded in the power generation and transmission and distribution. So there's one player is in the game of regulating the price from the generation side, and that company is called the IESO. After the power has been generated and transmitted and distributed, because the whole industry needs regulation, so we have the regulator body called Ontario Energy Board. And that's the big picture about the power industry in Ontario. That concludes my session of the day. Next, I would like to let you know what I'm going to discuss in the next session. I will discuss about a light touch on the Ontario hydro industry, and I give you an idea about where your money goes as a taxpayer and as a user for hydro. We'll talk about more about green energy, because you probably see those green energy panels and windmills coming from different locations. How can you be a part of it? The last PowerPoint will be interested in those of you who are looking for a job or who are looking for change, a transition into the hydro industry, which people always say, well, it's a good industry, stable, and very well paid, and have a good compensation with a commission and benefits. Is it true? But if it's true, how can I get into it? I will give you more idea in the next session. So stay tuned, and I will see you in the next session.